pretend that wasn't like a secondary video. So the lava, that was its own video. So now we're gonna do metal, wood, and the rest of the elements with less cheddar. Okay. We're gonna get the metal. Oh God, we're all afraid of metal now. Because it just turns into like knife rape. So we need to like establish a new, we need to establish a new relationship with metal that doesn't seem like attack or blades going into people or bullets. Okay, so metal needs to become, so we're gonna get a little creative. We're gonna think about Su Yin Beifong in Korra playing with the space metal, and it looks like this soft amoeba. And so we're gonna remind ourselves that metal can just be that soft amoeba energy, and it might be like mercury. Okay, so it's melted and it's like, so that kind of works with the lava energy, but it's feminine and round and smooth and soft instead of attack or like blades. I have a lot of PTSD from the last 9 months, so I understand what it would be like to be in actual battle, because I was, but like via the astral planes instead of the physical world. But it's the same to your brain and to your body, because you feel it and you can hear it and you can see it. And so amoeba, I know I may or may not be offensive to people who've been in warfare battle situations because it was via the astral planes instead of the physical world. But just know, like, I've had my fair share of physical battles too, and it's not that dissimilar. It's really not. Um, it's about the mind and how the mind perceives everything, and how like the impact physiologically and emotionally on your body, and that's what creates. So it's a psychological awareness around everything you've gone through. So there's a need for people that have gone through extreme trauma to kind of compete or to feel like nobody gets them so that they can continue to perpetuate their wound. And it's a process that is a protection mechanism because they're so wounded. And it's like, oh, you don't understand. It's a teenage thing, teenager thing. Okay, so we have our metal amoeba. So like I can have empathy for women who've been FGM'd. Like I haven't myself, but I have enough like depth and compassion in my mind and in my brain and my body that there's like nothing more horrifying than that. And I don't need to compete with them about like my astral knife rape that went down for 9 months. um, like there's just nothing more awful, and like they shouldn't have to be reliving it, and I shouldn't be having to relive mine, and we shouldn't be competing about which one's worse. Because they're both like awful. Like burnt, that it's just that. And that's why we put FGM in the knife rape category to begin with, because um it's just the worst thing in the world. So we have amoeba. Yeah, we should be talking about this until we've cleaned it off the planet. That's the stance of the seraphim. So if you don't have the maturity to handle reality of the crimes on humans on the planet, especially the sex crimes, or like sexual mutilation or torture sex crimes, then you don't belong like in angel land. And you definitely don't belong at above the wheel, because the wheel is the we all, and they're part of the we all. So you can't you can't shoot yourself in the head and be like, I just want to be positive all day long. That's like at the most, that's like a Hufflepuffer. Okay, and then Mbina is the house of sorrow. And that's above the abyss. So, like, maturity is groundedness about the real crimes going on throughout the planet. Okay. So we've got our new metal, which is amoeba-ish. That may take away from the idea of like shrapnel or swords or knives from traumatized people. Blades. Okay, and so we're going to take the amoeba, we're going to create a soft amoeba lotus. Some people's might look like an artichoke. I don't know how to make mine like a soft, rounded amoeba lotus, but I'm going to try and imagine it. Then I'm going to put it in my heart. And I'm getting to the point where it says, I'm so tired of myself. I just want to go get a job and hide in society, because nobody's ever going to listen to me. Like, all day I'm speaking to the wind. And I'm wondering when that's going to change. And then I think I'm going to end up at Kelly's home living with her. And I won't be speaking to the wind if I'm living with her. I think we'll be playing off of each other and figure out how to build this world together. so that falls down to the bottom of the yolk. So that's my mental emotion at the bottom of the clippeth. Instead of, I want to go knife rape somebody, or I want to go shoot up a school, and I have been ignored and slaughtered and beaten to death and raped to death, and ignored and beaten to death and raped to death, and today I was told that I lacked his said energy. And there's nothing further from the truth. I was left to starve to death on a beach. My mental, emotional body is like, I'm gonna go get a job and stop teaching Kabbalah because nobody listens to me. From the pit of hell. Okay. From the bottom of the hell pits. That's where I'm at. So I have more has said than anyone on the planet. That's okay. All right. So that metal goes all the way down to the bottom of the yolk and fills up the yolk with the soft metal. And then the metal turns into a shell. We're gonna put stone slabs on the outside of the metal and the metal dragon scales for the yolk. And then we're gonna porcupine through the central column through each of those dragon scales. So like I can feel the energy of John Ruskin, the acting teacher, going, I'm so fucking God and you're my nemesis. Like I just starved to death and was knife raped for 9 months. And he's so full of himself. And I'm a homeless woman. That was my problem with him when I left. So that porcupine goes through each dragon scale. Metal mesh. And then we're gonna put a pearlescent glue on the metal mesh. Sorry, we're taking so long with this. All right, so then we have, am I wearing tights or pants? I'm wearing these like, they're bamboo pants, the booty bamboo pants. So they're kind of like tights and kind of like pants. And then I wear shorts on top of them. So it's like a ballerina thing. Okay. So then we have the master. So we have the master, and then we go boom. What went in our hands for the metal? They're little metal pellets or balls, spheres, and they all feel kind of smooth, like little miniature marbles, and they fill up the bottom. They feel rather non-violent. And just they're the size of pearls or smaller. What size are these pearls? I think this is 8mm. Something, I can't remember. It's the standard size that I buy with beads when I do magic necklaces. How often do I do magic necklaces? I do them when I do a sacred dragon initiation. I'll do a necklace for each initiation. Or I'll do a protection necklace, and I'll do all the different paths through the tree of life on one side, all the different paths through the tree of life on the other side. That's almost a perfect space, and then I'll have the giant totem in the middle. So I'll put a dragon charm. or something to that respect, or an angel wing. So, and I'll do them the crystal, like the main teaching or blessing that's coming through. Somebody asked me what did I do for the second dragon initiation? I did a black and white ebony wood charm. So that was the Dino Star and Lucifer coming together for the dragon charm. And then it was peridot. So it's more Yoda balls, cobra acid, puke. And then on red, the red. So it was very Gryffindor-y energy. So the pattern came through. It didn't feel Netzakian. It felt like Ron looking at his sweatshirt going that he would get with the R on it from his mom for Christmas, going, ah! That's what it looked like. So the metal spheres are still coming up through the master egg. Somebody's asking if we can see it. I wonder if I have it accessible right now. Yeah, we do. We have it accessible. I usually keep them in my magic cups. So it's the charm. So you can see it's the black and white ebony. So that's like Lucifer and Dino Star coming together. I know it's not like it's supposed to feel like it's white and black coming together. Yay! And then so then it's the ugly peridot olivine. And then I wear it till it breaks. And then once it breaks, the magic begins. So I did this a couple years ago when we started the Kabbalah class. And now I keep it in one of my magic cups. All right. Somebody said that's a $30. That was it? It's a $50 because the charm itself is $25. It's a special wood carving. But the beads are about $20. And then so then I make it on the harvest moon or on the dragon initiation moon, 9/17. So it's a very special. My first dragon initiation was with the Charlie. Charlie came through with the angelite. So the brown dragon. So all right, so the metal beads are coming through, and then we have the dragon scales for metal on the outside of the master. So that's going to look like cerebrum, but we're going to have the squares, but with rounded edges. Because we're reminding ourselves that all the pointiness can be very rounded off instead. It's a nice lesson. And then we're going to porcupine through the central column, through the scales. It's when business cards started doing things like cutting the corners to have rounded edges, and you go, that feels much nicer. It's hipster. It's still a square, but it feels more awesome. That then those metal meshes get built with the porcupine going through the scales. way through the bottom. And then the metal mesh is created. And then there's the pearlescent goo. Now we're gonna do wood. So the tree for GEBURAH is the rowan tree. And the leaves are really jaggedy and pointy. So it feels like, how do I get out of the knife frame? So almost everything for GEBURAH was like, how do I get out of knife frame? Including the tree. So we're still gonna use the rowan tree. This is a symbol and a reminder that the red energy is the balls. And that's the GEBURAH Gryffindor. And the green energies, the knife rapey in Netzach. And so the balls of the rowan tree are much more, the berries are much more preferred than the Netzachian knife rape. So it's so weird, like how everything got set up. Like it's not that fun. So we're gonna get so we're gonna call it it's the anti-knife rape tree. Yay! So it's the rowan lotus. And we're gonna put it on our hearts. We're gonna let it grow all the way down. And it doesn't feel like oak. It feels strong. And it feels fast. So it's the same thing when you hear the name Kali Ren, the energy that comes through is like this fast, like cutting, but not with like a blade. It's more the Jedi sword. So the rowan tree has that kind of ray or energy. So it's gonna climb all the way down to the yolk and then climb up to the top of the yolk. And then it's gonna create its own reality. Branches, leaves. And we're gonna like shake the top of it. And then the red berries are gonna fall to the bottom of the egg. And then the seeds are gonna plug into the bottom of the master egg. And then root little sprouts. everywhere. So it's hair. So it's sprouts of hair, and all those sprouts are going to go all the way up the master egg and all the way down the back of the master egg. And so just hair growing. And then it gets strong, and then it turns into wood and leaves. So almost like a miniature baby forest of rowan in the master, and then it turns into, it's almost, we are Groot. Then it turns into an actual unified tree. So I had these, there were these rowan portals at Hyde Park. I would sit there and I would meditate. I would become friends with them. I would talk to them. And then all of a sudden one day, one of the trees got cut down. And there was no reason other than just pure vanity on the royal family's behalf that rowan tree was slaughtered. And you can't desensitize. Because when you become desensitized, it just perpetuates the negligence. Like, why was the rowan tree cut down? It was a youngling. It was maybe 5 years old. It wasn't an overgrown chaos. You don't get that cutting down a tree is the same as killing a human. Or worse. Okay. So we're gonna put the intergalactics, like the pearlescent goober jelly on the rowan, and we're gonna take the lotus. We're gonna put it at our hearts. And we're gonna seek to have every leaf and every berry covered and every root covered in that pearlescent jelly. All the way down to the bottom of the yolk. And then we're gonna take more and we're gonna let it fall to the bottom of the master egg. We're gonna have it, I'll go all the way up to the top. And then we're gonna get the intergalactic starlight lotus. It glows. I'm hearing it's just Tiferet. So when we're at GEBURAH, intergalactic starlight is just Tiferet. It's pretty easy to produce. So the intergalactic starlight gets tossed all around the rowan tree on top of the pearl goo, and then through the bottom. So it should become a waterfall of intergalactic starlight Tiferet. It's like that's a nice Tiferet at the bottom of the clippeth. I'm really excited to get a bunch of people. These will be the world's most humane, intelligent masters ever. A bunch of people talking about Tiferet emanating at the bottom of the clippeth through their hands. Just that. And then A&R marked. Yay. What a lovely society. And I won't have to hear somebody like Christina Quick talking about whoring themselves out for money and then throwing me shade all day long that she's too good for me or somehow my alpha. It's really schizo, or it's really irreverent for people like that. Like, I don't have time to even talk to you because I'm so good. And then the real Gryffindors or real GEBURAHs are going to be like A&R marked and full on sacred. And you go, what? Somebody didn't even pass Hode. It was non-separatism. You're too good to even talk to me? So. Yay. Um, Now we have weather. Now we bring in the weather lotus. The dragons don't do well with people who do things like, I'm too good to talk to you. This is zero humility. Um, Especially if you're in the same business. So we have the weather, clouds forming around our yoke. You should feel it. Now we're gonna do the weather. So it just looks like rain falling down from our hands to the bottom of our master. It's weather. And it goes on the outside of where the wood is, the tree, or the wood egg part. And it surrounds the entire tree in clouds and dew and rain and mist. And then we have the Helmava snow come down and enter our heart. It may come in through the tongue and go into our heart. And then it goes all the way through the yolk. And then the Helmava all the way throughout the egg. And snowflake after snowflake after snowflake. And I feel the cool air coming through. You feel the soft calm begin. This is the inner peace. I always love when we get to the snow because it quiets the world. It quiets the voice, different voices, or the gremlins in your head, or the astral planes. Yes, you can do the snow every day if you would like. I would do the lava Make sure you're destroying any of the ick energy. But you can do the snow afterwards. And then we do the Ensof. So it's going to be a nice pasty gel of Ensof goo for the lotus. And we put it in the heart. Let it go throughout the bottom of the yolk. And then we fill the outside of the yolk with dragon scales of Ensof. And it might look like paper mache or clear paper mache. Baking paper, something like that. And it will be soft, kind of like a blanket. And it will fill in the Ensof all the way through the body. And then through the bottom of the master. Ensof goes. And then it creates the shell and the scales. Now, if you wanted to porcupine through the central column of the yolk, you can do that. And then through the central column going through the master, you can porcupine. And we can create middle mesh. And then we have another Ensofic goo that we create on the yolk. And we'll turn the collie pink when it's set. And then on the master, same thing. Somebody's asking me if this is 3 layers Ensof in the clip-it, and it's not even close. So, 3 layers Ensof in the clip-it is somebody very unique. Can actually grab hold of the entire planet through Ensof all the way down to the bottom of the clip-it into clip-it id. There's only one person on the planet that I know that can do that other than myself. have to have an 11th house nexa. And most of you guys can't even get A&R marked. Know that. So you need to pass an 8th house. You need to pass a 9th house. You have to pass the 10th house, which 10th house itself is virtually impossible. Then you need an 11th house nexa. So you need to get past me, Elijah, if he ever manifests as an actual avatar, Hathor, and Isla for an 11th house, but Isla is only at the max at 10th house, so you still have to get past her, but it's Hathor. Me and Hathor. And then Mother Andromeda runs with the 11th house nexa. So these are reverse. I'm not going to explain it, but on the other side of Ensof, it's an inverted reality. So it creates crazy people like Elijah would. His choice was to go crazy instead of become God. He became Kylo Ren instead. So we don't endorse people to have 11th house nexas. And we actually keep them out because they go crazy. And become demons. All right. So Ensof, and then we have Black Targu. So most of you guys will be even just grateful if you get to the point where you're in the 8th house nexa, like, and or doing aura work in life. Like that will be fulfilling. So know that. The Black Targu. No, Jesus does not have an 11th house nexa. People with 11th house nexas are star travelers that have inverted reality spectrums. And you can feel them when you cross the Ensophic realms. No, Jesus does not have that. Jesus is just getting into like GEBURAH, like GEBURAH level, just so you guys understand. So the black tar. yolk. I'm just letting it coat. And it porcupines through the black tar, creates a mesh, and then we coat it with another. We can have black tar lotus if we want. I've never in my life seen anybody preach non-abuse of power so much and abuse every single inch of his power so much as Elijah. So he's a mon, but the knife rapist. And then we do another black tar goo for the master. And it's dust, it's charcoal dust. Let it fall to the bottom. So one of my new favorite dragons is charcoal. So I have to do charcoals papers and ashes papers and metal benders papers. And nobody really knows about these dragons. So there are like the replacements for the famous ones. Charcoal's cool. He started not liking me very much. We started our friendship not like, and now he's red. So the black tar goes to the bottom. Fills up through the egg, through the third eye, through the master, through the big egg. And then black tar taffy just falls through the whole egg until the dragon scales appear. I might cut off a lot more of the knife, right? The tack. There's still stuff though. There's always so much more stuff. Like why are people there? It's the same people who just cut down a tree and then rationalize it. But that's what they needed to do to survive. Or put a tank of gas in their car, and they weren't even carpool. That's starting to feel good. And then we're going to porcupine through the central column, through the big egg. Okay. I'm judging my own inability to get it done well. Okay, so I'm gonna let that turn into more black tar heroin. And I'm gonna paint the outside metal mesh, more black tar heroin, and I'm gonna feel like I'm about to vomit. So all my disapproval energy, all my anger, anything that's still coming up. I'm like letting the black tar coat it. Somebody says that they got the download that the black tar controls the light. That's true. So the black dark antimatter, if you use it correctly, will coat the coat where the different light ray spectrum will bounce off of it and then be pointed and rayed in the direction that is required to go into. So when you go into the black tar, that's the magic. That's the magic energy. And you can use it for really great reasons and create health. And so when I first got the black tar heroin, it was starting to create way more schizophrenia for me. It was breaking apart reality into black tar versus a one dot of light. So I could see where reality was being created. And everybody looked like clay and animated through that one little ray of light spectrum. So you could see it. There's a download to that, and you'll get those deeper downloads when you start to do time travel and stuff. Or Professor X level work where you freeze reality. So that kind of thing. I'm not even close to that level of skill, obviously. So, but these are downloads of showing me where the basis of reality starts to break down through the different light spectrums, and the black tar heroin really works. Heroin goo. Okay, so we're gonna let the black tar heroin go through our brains, through our bodies, everything. and it's coated on the outside of the shell. And we're gonna let one of our favorite dragons, I'm gonna have Lefty come and do mine. So one of my other dragons is Lefty, and it's actually Lefty is like a twin to Charlie, but not. But Lefty feels like Charlie does to me. There are only a couple dragons on the planet that feel like Charlie. And Lefty's one of them. Lefty's like really nice. So I would consider Lefty another hell dragon, but like love. So Lefty's Charlie's cousin. Okay. So Lefty is nicer to me than Righty is. Like Righty's kind of a dick. Okay. So their names don't constitute their personalities. Righty needs to get cleaned out of knife rape, and then Lefty cleans himself out with lava all day long. So you guys need to understand. So I need to get Righty in one of the dragon cleaning circles in the future. Probably group 3 or 4. Yeah. Sometimes their names mean exactly their purpose, and then other times their names mean like the opposite or are ironic, just like humans. All right. So Lefty's gonna come in and burn me, burn my black tar goo into dragon skin. It's just love. Sometimes the dragons are coming in to be introduced to people because you guys don't know these dragons, and they would like to reveal themselves to you because they're quite magnificent. And I forget that I'm here to present them because I'm so much under attack all day long. I'm like very insecure with all of that. And instead of being able to offer the magnificence of them, and I'd like to operate from that level and that place. So that's a paradigm shift that's happening in me right now. It's operating less out of a fear mode and more out of a blessing and service mode. It's magnificent. So we took all that anger and all that hate and all that awful energy from the bottom of the clipith, and we're turning it into a presentation, a sense of gratitude and appropriateness with a public audience that has very little understanding or knowledge, instead of I have to defend myself energy. So that's a good Gryffindor energy. That's a good Gryffindor healing. It's operating out of a space of more abundance and security than I'm drowning. So this doesn't take away from people's crimes that they've committed against me, but what it does is offset my ability. So a ballerina does not complain about the pain that they're in, and they don't shrink back. They have to put on a performance and hold the stage and be graceful and gratuitous, even if they have a broken bone. Okay? So that it's rising above the pain body in the very lowest self. And where you don't feel like you're putting on a stage performance like an actor. That's different. But an actual security. Because your amygdala is at peace. I'm going to say Lefty gave the gift of self-confidence. It's something else. I don't like saying the word self-confidence. It has that, but it has a more dignified essence. If you're a psychic, because you're always being told you're a psycho or a crazy person or a schizo or something, you're a psychic and you're channeling or you're presenting spirit guides or something that seems delusional to others because they don't quite understand or they don't have the empathy or knowledge or insight. You develop a self-protection mechanism where if a spirit comes, like I know I'm sounding crazy, like I sound like a crazy person. So this what we're getting right now is to override that, where we can look at peace, where we're not pleading for other people to approve or say, so it's Lefty is coming through. So then I feel the love of Lefty instead of other people's judgments around it. It's that. I'll be very excited if just one, even a baby dragon egg appears on the planet, much less any of these guys. So if we can earn the right to have them on the planet, I'm going to be very happy. I'll be a very happy lady. All right, I'm feeling very good with the elements. I burned away all the ick. Or Lefty's Dragonfire on the Black Tar Heroine. And it burned it through the clippets, even in the back. So let's see what we create for the zeroed out dimensions in the next video. Collie Wren out.